Well,
here it is. We're live. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
On Instagram Live, too. If you can't see this phone in front, everybody
go.
that's tuning in on YouTube and Facebook, we are here. We got Fight Month official. We're Fight Month official last week, but the countdown is on. 3 weeks till fight night. Got 4 fighters that are going to be calling in tonight, and we're going to be breaking down the whole card. So stay tuned for a shitload of news coming your way.
Yeah, we got a lot.
We got a lot. Moments.
And so for our Instagram, so we're trying something new. We got Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube over here. And then over here we got our live on Instagram. We actually got more viewers over on Instagram. Just for our Instagram viewers, we're just going to do the opening on Instagram Live. And because we don't have the capability of bringing the callers in tonight onto our Instagram Live, because we're just testing this out for the first time, we're going to do our opening here. But then you're going to have to hop on either Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube to see the interview. So we'll give you a heads up to jump over before that. We do have Chris Rooney. We do have Patrick Gilbride in the queue. But before we got to them, what do you got? Busy weekend? What's holiday weekend?
Busy weekend, holiday weekend. I'm enjoying the long weekend. Was able to get a bunch of yard work done on this glorious fall day. October, one of my favorite months. It's going to be packed. Halloween week in Plymouth.
Oh, geez.
Hey, it's my favorite holiday. It's like Christmas for me, but fight week in just a few weeks. I'm excited as always. Was taking a look at the card tonight. We've got 17 matchups. We've got a grappling super fight. We've got a Muay Thai title fight, 8 amateur mixed martial arts fights, 7 professional mixed martial arts fights. Cage Titans 56 is absolutely stacked. All these matchups are fireworks waiting in the wings like it's 4th of July on Halloween. It's something that I've been looking forward to since we've made the meat and potatoes matchups, but we've got a lot of amateurs making their debuts against other debuting amateurs, and that has historically brought excitement to Memorial Hall. So I'm stoked for a lot of those matchups, even though some of these names you're hearing for the first time.
Yeah, man, I'm excited because, we did the 4th of July weekend. It was huge for Plymouth Memorial Hall, huge for the town of Plymouth. After we got back from COVID, they shut down all the facilities and all the festivities for 4th of July. This was the first year we opened it back up, and we were the first event of the long weekend. And now I guess we're becoming a holiday type MMA promotion because here we are on Halloween weekend. A lot of people are like, are you crazy? You doing it on Halloween weekend? Maybe a little bit.
Could be worse. Could be in Salem.
Yeah, exactly. But we are going to be doing a costume contest. So we're going to have a lot of fun activities that are going to be going on. We'll definitely be doing some awards for our most creative walkouts as well. If you know Cage Titans, we love to have fun. We love to do things a little outside the box. And this is going to be no different. So we're excited for Halloween. I've already said it's not really my holiday, but I know a lot of people are into it. And I brought in Ghost energy drink for this fight card. So, hey, listen, what better way to introduce a new energy drink than Ghost on Halloween weekend? But yeah, man, we got Chris Rooney and Patrick Gilbride. I'm sorry for our Instagram guys. We're going to have to now officially jump over to exclusively being on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Hopefully you can join us over there and bring some of you guys and tune in there. If this works out well, we're going to be in the works of trying to do some more things on Instagram Live because we know Instagram is kind of
Gonna do it for the gram.
Yeah, do it for the gram. So we'll be getting to Instagram Live shortly in the next couple days, maybe. We might come up with a new Instagram Live show. But tonight I just wanted to say hello to you guys first before we jumped over. So thanks for tuning in. This isn't the end. Jump on over to our Facebook and watch all the interviews. Tonight we have Chris Rooney and Patrick Gilbride. We also have, I believe, Jorge. The party is calling in.
What?
Yeah, man, that's a surprise for you. And then we also have Hassan and Jorge Vega that are both making their debuts against one another. So we have a
professional
stack show.
debuts.
Professional debuts. So we have a stack show. Hop on over and we'll talk to you over there. All right, cool. Let's end that. Go ahead, Andy. Take it over. Oh yeah, take
it over.
Johnny Cupcakes is in the building and Martina. Yeah, there we go.
I got too many cameras pulling all
right, that's
around.
We're going. We're leaving.
Way too much for my Polish attention span.
I don't even know how to end the live.
Are we going?
Well, they can't see all the guests, so.
Are we going with? We interviewing both of them simultaneously, or we're going to go one at a time?
We got both of them here.
Well.
Why don't we do this? We kind of told everybody that the whole window from 8:30 to
Yeah.
9:30. We had Chris on first, so why don't we take Chris in and get to know him a little bit, and then we'll bring Gilbride in at the same time, and then they'll have a little chance to talk to each other.
And
Then we'll send
perfect.
Rooney on his way, have a little bit of alone time with Gilbride.
And just on cue right there, we've got Chris Rooney in the wings, all the way up from Vermont, and 3 fights into your professional career. You've had 17 amateur fights or so, give or take. 17, barely count.
19.
Then you surged 19 amateur fights, surging into the professional ranks in 2021, facing some stiff competition, and then making your trip down to Plymouth for your inaugural fight at Cage Titans after 21 fights already. Welcome to Cage Titans. How you feeling this far into camp?
I'm feeling great, man. Fucking work a lot, train a lot. Don't really spend too much time with the family, but do a lot of working and training.
You said spend some time with your family. Is it your girlfriend, fiance, wife? She's a fighter.
My
too,
wife. Yeah. My wife used to be. She don't do much anymore. She trains a little bit, but she don't fight. She's had a lot of concussions, and this is my dream, not hers. She just got into it because it was cool to punch people in the face and not get in trouble for it.
And then will we all get into it for?
I say, who hasn't got into it for that?
Yeah,
I saw a couple of your photos and things like that. You've held a couple different championships. Why don't you tell us some of your background as your amateur career, where you held some of those belts?
I was the 55-pound champ for Extreme Combat Promotions. I defended that twice, I believe. I won it, and then I lost it to Steve Rich, which is a hell of a guy, hell of a wrestler. Then I ended up getting it back, and then I ended up winning the 145 title at the same time. So I was a dual champ.
Champ.
Champ. I was champ before Conor McGregor.
So Conor McGregor stole your
yeah. He just wanted to be like me. I understand. Yeah. But and then I ended up getting in trouble, getting into drugs, and then went to jail for some time, and now I'm clean, sober, and training, and back at it.
That's a comeback story that's always great to hear. People kind of getting out of addiction issues through martial arts. It's something that anybody can get behind and root for. You've been fighting for over a decade now. Your first amateur fight was back in 2011. You've seen a couple of different eras of the sport. How have you seen the game change after being in the trenches for over a decade now?
The jiu-jitsu has just come a long ways. I mean, the whole mixed martial arts has come a long ways, but the jiu-jitsu is just on another level. So many competitors are just twisting people out. It's just amazing. Like, I feel like the jiu-jitsu has come a long way.
Yeah. You mentioned jiu-jitsu. You're a blue belt. Are you currently a blue belt? And who are you belted under?
Sergeant Jiu-Jitsu. Sergeant Trevor Sargent.
And
out of Sergeant Jiu-Jitsu. He's under Luigi Mondelli from American Top Team in Connecticut.
Okay. So, coming back to something you mentioned, battling back from addiction and being sober, we find that a lot. I don't want to say a lot, but we do find that happens, that, people find kind of sobriety and then find their way to mixed martial arts. How has that helped your journey through sobriety, being training in MMA and being a part of this sport?
Well, the one thing that's kept me, on the straight and narrow is my wife. She's been there through thick and thin, and without her, I want to be where I'm at. And she's the one that pushes me to be the best that I can. And like now that I've been clean since 2017, I can't stand anything about the drugs. I want to do something about it, like get the streets back to where they were and not full of drugs. And I've lost quite a few friends because they weren't able to get away from it like I was. And I want get it away from, I don't want my nephew or my kid or, people like that to end up in the same boat that I went through.
Yeah. Well, it's good to hear that you found that path. And obviously we wish you success not only in the cage but outside in life. Myself, I have 5 kids, so I'm a family man myself. So it's good to see somebody taking care of their family and doing the right thing. So congrats on that.
Thanks, man.
But to change subjects real quick, I mean, obviously you have Patrick Gilbride, in this coming fight. What do you know about your opponent, and what excites you about this matchup in particular?
Well, I know he's brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and that's kind of why I took it, because I want to fight the best, and I see that he's really good on the ground, and that's kind of where I was lacking. So I want to see where I'm at now. If I can go against somebody that's really good in jiu-jitsu, and we'll see where it goes.
And for people that are not familiar with you, like, what can the Cage Titans fans expect from a Chris Rooney fight when you get in the cage? I know we've seen some of your fights, and I know what we're expecting, but from the fans at home, they haven't seen you fight before, and what can they expect?
It's always going to be I always go for the finish, whether I get it or not. It's either me or him. I don't care if I get finished. Obviously everybody wants to win, but I want to put on a show for the fans, make it exciting. Obviously everybody wants a knockout or submission. I'll go with either. I mean, I really don't like decisions. I've lost a couple of decisions that I felt like I won, so I don't ever try to leave it to the judges.
Nice. Well, I know that Gilbride's very similar in that he's always looking for the finish. So I that's why I got this fight circled. That I'm pretty pumped for this. Andy, you got any questions before we bring Pat in, and maybe give you a couple minutes to if you have anything to say to Pat when we bring him in? But you got anything?
No, I'm ready to. I mean, that's basically it. Yeah. Excited to make the transition down to Massachusetts. Have you fought in Massachusetts before? I know
no. I fought in Vermont and Plattsburgh, New York, and Maine.
So you've never fought in Massachusetts
first
at all
time
after 10 years in the game. You've all stayed north in Massachusetts. So
yeah. I've been trying to fight. For about a year now. I've been trying to fight out of state, but with the travel expenses, nobody really wants to pay all the travel, and so I understand it. The plane tickets are crazy, and obviously I would want at least 2 people to go with me, so it's a lot.
Yeah.
So
you're friends with John Adams. I saw when we posted about you. John Adams made the trip many a times down here, and and I know he's trying to recover and get back into fighting again. Hopefully one day. He had a car accident not too long ago, I think. So that's why he's been out of the cage for a while. But either way, any last minute people that you want to shout out before we bring Pat in for a few minutes before we let you run?
Just shout out to my wife, everybody I train with at Sergeant Jiu-Jitsu. They always keep me well prepared. All the fans, especially, family, friends. My Uncle Kevin. He's always there. He don't care where it's at. He's going. So he's definitely a number 1 fan.
Well, we'll be looking for Uncle Kevin when you're down at Plymouth Memorial Hall.
Yeah.
John Adams is in the comments. He said, "I'm pumped for Rooney. He's going to bring the smoke."
Awesome.
So without further ado, we can bring in Pat at the same time, and then we'll just have you a couple minutes with you both on. And then we'll let you go, Chris, and we'll have some time with Pat. So,
awesome. Thank you.
There you have it.
I think it's funny because you're talking about how your wife is a motivation in your fight career, and that she's fought too. And then, Pat, congratulations on the recent marriage. And I know that you've got Nikki, who also fights as well, and it's another fight couple versus fight couple matchup here.
That's awesome.
Pat, you're muted.
We can't hear you, Pat.
You muted yourself, Pat. There you go.
Thank you, Andy.
There you go. So we got obviously opponents of each other on at the same time. Pat, you had the chance to listen to a little bit of what Chris had to say. Why he's there? What excites you about this matchup with Chris?
Chris is a gamer. I mean, you look at his record. He's taken tough fights, and he always shows up at the finish, like he was mentioning, and that's kind of how I like to fight too.
Yeah.
So,
I got to ask, are you rocking a robe and a recliner?
Oh, hell yeah. I just got out of training. I literally jumped out of the shower, threw a robe on, came right into this interview.
Hey, maybe you can pump up our ratings. Maybe take the robe off for the ladies or
flip
something.
it.
Pat, about Chris specifically, is there anything, you guys, neither one of you seem to be trash talkers, so I'm not trying to go there, but is there anything in Chris's game that stands out to you that you need to be, that you're nervous about? I know it's a weird question, but I know you're not trash talkers. I was going to say, hey, what are you going to exploit and how do you see you beating them? But I just don't think either one of you guys like to go down that road. So,
nothing
what do you
really
look forward to in
impresses me.
Chris?
I'm just messing with you. No, he's a good striker. I watched a few of his fights. He brings some striking to the table. But then again, he's tough everywhere. You look at some submissions that were put on him and he escapes, and some were deep, and he's got heart and he fights through it. So I'm excited for the matchup. He's a game opponent.
And you've been waiting in the wings for some time, dealing with some injuries, and your recovery has come full circle. And then I saw your name on the docket, and I was excited to see you matched up. Everything's going well, and you put enough time on the shelf, and now you're motivated to get back in there. How's everything feeling?
Great, man. I can use my arms again, which is nice. That was rough not having arms for a year or so, but
Wow.
yeah, it's back. I'm back. I'm training hard. I'm training with a lot of good people, and it's been really good.
So Chris, before we let you go, I asked kind of him what he sees in you, and anything that you would like to say to Pat before you leave regarding your matchup with him.
Well, again, I see his jiu-jitsu is on point, and I love that. I definitely am looking forward to if it goes to the ground and see what I can do against a hell of a brown belt.
Awesome. So before I let you go, we have one question we've been asking everybody. I'm going to put you full screen so we get your reaction. We have the Halloween show coming up. What is your go-to favorite Halloween candy before we let you go?
Reese's, I guess.
Reese's. I feel like Reese's the default.
That's usually the
peanut butter cups?
Well, I like the Reese's Pieces.
That's so funny because when you said Reese's, I was thinking Reese's Pieces in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I asked you to clarify, because I had a feeling you'd be a Reese's Pieces guy. Now, all right, so Chris, if you've had Reese's Pieces, do yourself a favor and have M&M peanut butter M&Ms.
Yes.
Peanut butter M&Ms.
Peanut butter M&Ms?
Yeah, so they're like a little thicker than Reese's, and they have like a little bit more peanut butter in them. They're bomb.
I'm gonna have to try that.
All right, man.
Top notch.
Yes,
well, thank you for tuning in. Tell your wife, and I said hello because I know there was a while we were trying to get her to fight down here. And we look forward to meeting you and Uncle Kevin on October 24th.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, thanks, guys. All right. So Uncle Kevin. So there we go. Now we got some Gilbride in his bathrobe, suave.
Yeah, don't let him lie. He didn't want you to take it off for any viewership pleasure. He just wanted to see you without a shirt on before October 29th.
Actually, I training today. I only brought one shirt, and it got soaked in my first session, so I didn't have another shirt for my second session. And like an idiot, I didn't have a change of clothes, so I didn't have a shirt to come home.
Oh, it's not summer anymore either. It gets chilly.
It was freezing.
You got to start bringing the bathrobe to training.
Yeah, I went straight from work, so no robe.
No robe. Well, Pat, obviously, Andy mentioned earlier, last time we saw you, you had that arm injury that you were trying to fight through, and it proved to be a little bit too much for you, and you had to take some time off. What have you been doing over that time off? Because I know it must be driving you crazy because you're the type of guy that's always in the gym.
Really just golfing, chasing my wife around the house. Nothing too crazy. No, I took the time to really change my game. So I started working a lot of wrestling. I'm working at Trifecta, and I'm wrestling there every week. Danny Savory has been huge too. I mean, jiu-jitsu, we've been specific training, so a lot of wall work, a lot of finishes, different combinations, and then even boxing. I've been boxing a ton, 4 days a week, just boxing with some really good pros, and trying to bring something new to the table.
Yeah, and you've always been a workhorse in the gym, and looking forward to seeing the improvements after over a year of a layoff. That was, just look back, and it's like I can't believe it's been over a year. The last fight was back in August of 21. It's just crazy how fast the time flies.
Yeah. I
So
took
what-
up golf actually. When
Golfing.
I was
That
just going to
was
say,
gonna be
how,
my next
how,
question.
how are you in the golf game?
I'm a better fighter than golfer.
I golfed once.
Golf is hard, man. Golf's really
Yes. How many balls do you lose over the course of 18?
hard. It's not as bad anymore. It was pretty bad at first, but I'm good with the sleeve typically.
Yeah, my last time golfing was probably my only second time in my life. It was a bachelor party, and I think I made it to hole 3, and I said, "Screw this! I'll be hanging in the cart and I'll drive around." That's not me. I don't have the patience for that shit. So, anyways,
Not even if you drink like 8 monsters over the course.
No,
like,
man, no.
when people drink 18 beers over the course
Nah.
of the day. That's what makes it fun.
this is for
You,
today.
you don't booze, right? You don't booze, Paul Beer?
Man, that's a loaded question. I will say I don't booze often, but like
when he does run,
I do. I'm like one of those guys because like I'm not a casual drinker. Like like they say, I drink for effect, not taste. And I don't really like to taste alcohol. So whenever I get a drink, I just chug it. And then next thing you know, it's like, wait a minute, how the hell is he on the floor? And it's not a good scene. I didn't drink growing up, so like I never drank in high school or any of that stuff. So I never acquired the taste. And yeah, man, it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea.
You throw down the Bud Lights on the golf course.
No, honestly, I stopped drinking golfing because I was so bad when I drank. It was bad. And we'll play for money sometimes, so it's competitive. So
So, well, I got 2 questions for you before we let you go. I was going to ask you first what your candy is, but what's your drink of choice then? Because you mentioned that you like to partake in a few alcoholic beverages.
Drink of choice, I like gin and ginger.
Gin.
But I also like beer, like German beers.
Okay.
But I've tried to stay. I haven't drank for months.
Oh, really?
Get ready for the fight. Yeah, I never drink when I have a fight coming up. At least 3 months.
Okay.
Oh wow, you go that far in advance.
Yeah, it's terrible for you. Cardio wise, terrible for you.
Because we're kicking around the idea, and I ask you this because this has been an idea. I'm going to totally blatantly rip off Dana White, like with Fuck It Friday. I want to do like a Fuck It Friday, but drink edition, because obviously we have Coops here and a couple of our sponsors, Main Street Tavern on the Wharf for bars. So I was thinking of like coming up with a new drink every Friday in our own version of Fuck It Friday. Totally stealing Dana White's idea, but he does food and like weird ass food. I was thinking about doing it with drinks, maybe like Send It Saturday, where a drink of the weekend or something like that. So
That's a good idea.
yeah,
Trying to get
Andy
me back
can
up
be
to
the
200.
taste tester.
Hey, before long I'll be back up to 250 pounds.
My face would be this.
Not if you drink just gin.
Gin? No.
I got turned around to gin and tonics recently. I was never a gin drinker, but a nice gin and tonic. It's a good little summer drink. But I stick to the scotch mostly. That's my drink of choice.
I'm a Red Bull and vodka guy.
That's basically like drinking cocaine.
Yeah. But anyways, all right. Well, enough about that.
What's the
Halloween candy of choice? But I got to get you on full screen before I do that. So your Halloween choice candy.
I really like coconut, so I'm gonna go with Almond Joy or Mounds. Something a little different.
Dig it.
I'm
Nobody
a big
said.
coconut guy.
Dude, so I am. I like that as well, but I don't like dark chocolate. That's why I don't like Mounds as much. So I'll eat the Almond Joy, but I'll pull the peanut off the top.
The almond.
Yeah. I'll pull the almond off the top.
Why not just?
Yeah, I know it.
Get almonds.
No. Because I like Mounds because it doesn't have the almonds in it, but it's dark chocolate. Like, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. I guess.
If you had to choose which one do you like?
Oh, Almond Joy all day.
Almond Joy. So you're an almond guy. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Any last minute people that you want to thank before you run and go get a shirt on and get ready for bed and go chase your wife some more?
I want to say thank you to my sponsors. I got quite a few this time around. I don't know if there we go. Yep, there they are. And my trainers, Lozon MMA, Danny Savory, Trifecta, and, Joannis. We got to put in a lot of work this camp, so looking forward to show everyone, what we've been working on.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you in just a few weeks, man, on October 28th for weigh-ins.
Love this matchup. Can't wait for your return, Patrick Gilbride.
I'll see you both soon.
All
All right. Excellent.
Have a good one. All right, there you go. We got two fighters down. I know in the queue, I'm going to go in order. I got the Bounty Hunter, and I have our special guest, the Hurricane guy. He's still hanging out. So we're going to go to the Bounty Hunter next, and then we're going to go to our other guy, our secret in the queue guy. We got the Bounty Hunter, Hassan Graham. What's going on, my man? Undefeated amateur, Cage Titans amateur champ. There was nothing left for you to prove down there. Time to go pro. So what can we expect from you, man? How excited are you about this?
Oh, man, I'm excited. Man, I'm a little tired right now, but I'm excited for it. Ready to go pro, make some noise in the pro scene, and see where it goes from there.
And you were planning on being one and done as an amateur. Is this something that you're planning on going one and done as a pro, or did that belt motivate you to bigger and better things?
I'm all the way in now. We're going to keep going till the wheels fall off. We just going to keep going till we get to the top. That's the plan. One and done was the idea at one point, but now we're moving forward.
Dude, I love it. I love it. I mean, I always share the story about your dad. I love your dad. Obviously, he's going to be there. Dad's a scary man, too. I told you that story, right? I had to throw him out of the locker room, and I was like, shit, man. And he was just like, no one has the balls to ever tell me what to do. And he shook my hand. He's like, I respect the hell out of you. We had a moment, but he's like, my son's fighting. I'm like, everybody's son's fighting in there. And he was like giving like the security. I'm like, how did you let him in there? Like, I'm not telling him he can't get in there. And I'm like, listen. And then he told me
he's used to getting his way. Yeah,
but I had to tell him. But and now every time you fight, I'll see him out of the corner of my eye, and I'll go over there, give him a little nudge, and we kind of gives me back a little nudge. But yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. And it's great to hear that you're all in, because that's something when you finally go pro. Like as an amateur, if you're not all in, you might be able to get away with it. But now it's playing for keeps, and you got a heavy-handed opponent in Jorge Vega coming into this fight. So, definitely something you got to take serious. What do you know about your opponent, and what can you share, and what makes you excited for this matchup?
All I really know is he's a Muay Thai guy. I believe he's 3-0 with 3 knockouts. So, we're not running from any challenges. That was the whole point of taking this fight. We wanted a tough pro fight coming in just to test where I'm really at. And, whatever happens, happens. But I'm looking to stop him. I'm looking to knock him out. Every fight I come into, I'm looking for the knockout, plain and simple. If not, we're going to turn into a dog fight and get it done.
I mean, we've seen you in everything. We've seen you knock guys out with vicious punches. We've seen you go the distance in dog fights with like Jesse Vivian, and then we've seen you submit a guy in your last title defense.
Jack Burke, that was a fantastic scarfold choke. You've seen full facets of all aspects of mixed martial arts, and you're coming in. Do you see this as like you're going to have to bring the MMA style to the Muay Thai fighter who's got big knockouts, big power in the hands, and or are you going to try to stand and trade with somebody and challenge yourself against someone with what on paper would look to be a higher striking acumen?
I'm gonna stand and trade with everyone. You got to prove it to me first. That's what I like to do. I like to stand and trade. So I'm gonna stand there and trade with him, and we see where it goes from there. If we got to mix in the MMA, we're mixing the MMA. But like I said, I want that knockout. He already got 3 pro knockouts, so that's what I want. I want to tone him down a little bit.
Man, I was definitely excited about this fight when we made it. Excited about the options of you going pro. And Jorge Vega is definitely a formidable opponent, and I like fights like this because in a day and age where some guys want to protect their records and take easy fights. There's guys like you and Jorge himself. Like, hey, I don't care if you're 4-0, whatever you are so far in your career, and it's vice versa. You guys wanted to take the fight. You both wanted it, and you could have easily said to me, "Oh, can I get somebody easier for my first fight?" and never met up. But we're gonna find out real quick who belongs in the pro ranks, and the cream rises to the top. So that's why I'm stoked about this fight.
Oh yeah.
So Speaking of which, you've been known. We have the hurricane expert, the party expert, who's been known for taking over Plymouth Memorial Hall with his beautiful walkouts. But you have been known to take over the walkouts. You had the rapper rap you out.
Yeah, we had a live walkout for the first
time ever.
Hummer limos, whatever, the whole 9 yards. What are we expecting out of the bounty hunter when you come back?
You gotta come out with something big for your pro debut.
I don't know, man. I'm thinking still. We still cooking that up, man. We know it's Halloween, so a lot of people are gonna be having their own, walkouts and whatnot. So I think I'm not sure yet. This time I might come out strictly business. So I'm gonna let everyone else have fun, and this is gonna be a strictly business event for me.
All right. Well, real quick, I got to throw him in the stream. Oh, we do have your opponent here, but real quick, because we're talking about walkouts, I got to bring in the hurricane expert, but we're going to call him the party expert as well. I got Joe Penafiel, the party. You know Hassan. We were just talking about walkouts. As a famous walkout expert at Memorial Hall, what advice can you give for Hassan Graham?
I think he needs to keep doing what he's doing and have fun. I get entertained a lot just by the little the clips you guys put up of all the highlights I've seen of just the past events that he's been a part of. I love the limo. I think the limo needs to be like an everyday thing. I don't know who sponsors you, but he needs a limo sponsor. And I like the New York flavor that you're bringing to New England. It reminds me a lot of like I wish you come out to like maybe some Biggie or something. I don't know. You have a lot of, or maybe some Harlem stuff. Like you got. I like the New York flavor, and yeah. So I think you just need to keep doing you and have fun, but take care of business.
For sure.
So Hassan, did he persuade you at all?
Like I said, we cooking something up. We haven't fully made the decision yet. I got a few ideas. Have a few if I do plan on doing it. So nobody would know until we actually get there, until it's showtime.
Yeah, that's what I love. And that's the same thing with a party. You've had some memorable walkouts. And since we're on that topic, what was probably your favorite walkout at Memorial Hall?
I don't know. I guess the one versus Bugs might have been the best one. You guys are going crazy on that stuff, like turning the lights off and all that craziness. But I liked getting booed by Patrick's. Like when me and Gilbride fought the first time I was in New England. It was a really good. That crowd was crazy, so I like that. I don't know. For me, it's more about like the walkout wise. Yeah, I can make it a good walkout, but it's hard, man. I get what the bounty hunter, my buddy's saying. He's like, you want to perform and you want to really focus on performing. And it's kind of like you don't want to get caught up in the whole like theatrics of everything, but you got to put on the show, kind of. At the end of the day, that shit's what makes it fun for the people and for us too. Let loose and kind of like it's like a big celebration at the end of this fucking training camp. And it takes a lot for some of us fighters to get to these fights. On the back end, there's work stuff going on and there's life stuff going on with wives, with family, a lot of things are happening. So, yeah, but my favorite walkout for sure probably was coming out and getting booed by everyone so loud. And the first time I was in New England, that was the best. And then the Bugs fight was pretty cool. I think you guys did a great job. It was mostly you and whoever else was helping you. I think it was Joe. I don't know who else. You guys were doing like some crazy shit. That was like cool.
Yeah, I remember what he's talking about is before him and Boogs walked out, we completely cut all the lights off. And like it's a big no-no. You're not supposed to, like, there's certain lights that we have to keep on for fire code. But when these two walked out, the hype was so real, and I knew the walkout. I was like, we're pitch black in the place before they came out, and it was pretty cool. Hassan, your walkout was memorable. Speaking of walkouts, you had a lady fall over trying to kiss you as you walked out. Tell us walk us through that. I know we talked about it before, but some new listeners, when you hear that, this is a lady you have no clue who she was.
No clue who she was. So honestly, I didn't even see it until later on. Like I had no clue it happened. And then when you listen to the video, you just hear her say, "I want to kiss him," and just hit the canvas. So it's hilarious because Mike, you had asked me, "Did you plan that?" I'm like, "No, that was just priceless. It was beautiful."
The Heartbreak Kid. Jesus, dude.
Yeah, man, it was insane. And I got to give credit and maybe give a shout out to your friend, your performer, because I remember the DJ was like, you know, when you guys got there, like, hey, we're gonna let this guy rap him out, and there was a lot of people that were kind of like, do you really want to do this, Mike? And I'm like, listen, man, Hassan's got a plan. Let's let him have his moment and do it. And the DJ was like, I don't know about this guy. And then afterwards, he was like, yo, this guy crushed it. He did a great job. So why don't you give him a quick shout out?
That's Highway J. That's one of my, not my artists, but that's a local artist out in Springfield, Mass. You can look him up on Instagram, Highway J. It's pretty dope, man. You know, we're going to do some more things. We're going to have another walkout plan soon.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, the party, it was awesome checking in with you. Before I let you go, because I'm going to bring in Jorge Vega, who's Hassan's opponent. So we're going to get them both on. You got something coming up. You got a fight coming up out in Michigan, right?
Yeah, man. I'm taking my Florida ass over to Michigan, going against a 7-0 prospect, undefeated, talented young wrestler, 20-something-year-old. I think he's like 20 years old. So this guy's a young guy, you know. I'm an old guy, like they say. And we're going to see what happens. I'm going to match his pace, and I'm going to break him. Probably something brutal. I think I'm not going to say what direction it's coming, but it's coming somewhere. Probably right up the middle. And right up the middle. I know he's going to be ducking and grabbing at legs at some point, and we're going to be doing some wrestling, which is, I love to wrestle. I teach kids wrestling. So November 12th, it's going to be in Detroit, in Dearborn, Michigan, 20 minutes away from Detroit. So expect me to be at the strip clubs afterwards. They told me they have fantastic strip clubs out there. Yeah, November 12th, lights out, promotion. Check them out online. But you know where it's at. Cage Titans is my home. I'm the champ. When I get back there, I'm fucking people up. Whoever's next, I already know all the names they're throwing at me. When I get back there, I'm gonna go 3 or 4 shows in a row. Same shit as always. It's been a long year, but the party will be back. You know, Hurricane hit me a little bit hard, and life hit me a little bit hard before that. But I'm gonna be coming back really hard and really smart. It's just made me tougher, and I can't wait to perform. And big shout out to all these guys. They're going to be on your card coming up in October. You guys are going to kick ass. I just want to show mad love to New England. And, you know, Michael Porver is my favorite boss. You know, out of all the bosses, I have to fucking, you know what I mean? This is my number one boss. No one fucks with Mike Porver. Andy, big shout out to you. I'll have some beers with you at that fucking place, that Mexican joint next to the hotel.
So good hearing from you, Joe Party.
Joe,
glad to see you.
January 7th, put that on your calendar. That's our first show of 2023. And handle your business out in Michigan, and we'll make sure we line somebody up for you to take on January 7th.
What's your Halloween candy, Joe Party?
Yeah, Party. What's
take out, motherfucker? You said it right. I'm gonna take them out.
Hey, you
no,
know,
I'm kidding. I don't want to be a dickhead. I know. I know.
All right, so Party. What's your Party Halloween candy before you leave?
It used to be Butterfingers. But the Butterfinger changed in the early 2000s, and that shit isn't the same anymore. I was a big Butterfinger fan, but something happened with the product. It changed. Like, I swear to God, it changed. Like 2015. I can't remember. I'm an old mother. I forget. But Butterfinger was my shit ever since I was a kid. They used to have commercials with like Bart Simpson getting his head cracked or whatever it was, falling off a tree, having a Butterfinger. But I think they changed like it's just not the same. It doesn't taste. I like the peanut butter shit too. I'm with you with the peanut butter, Mike. M&M peanut butter ones are where it's at.
All right, so you got to pick one. All right, enough with the history lesson. Pick one.
Butterfinger.
Butterfinger still?
I got to go with it.
Nobody better lay a finger on my Butterfinger. Isn't that All right. Well, thank you so much, Party. We will talk to you soon and handle your business.
Bye. I will. I'll be back soon.
Detroit Rock City.
All right. So we got to get the bounty hunter. Here we go.
The heavyweight debuts.
I'm messing around on producer Joe. Sorry, Joe.
Virtually facing off for the first time. We've got Jorge Vega joining us on the live chat as well. As his opponent mentioned earlier, Hassan Graham said it himself. You're undefeated Muay Thai fighter with 3 knockouts, and now you're making that transition to mixed martial arts, jumping right into the pro ranks over somebody who's already held an amateur title. How do you feel jumping right into the professional depths, and also welcome to Cage Titans?
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me for your show.
Yeah.
Uh, repeat the question again. Sorry about that.
Oh, you
There was a lot. There was a lot right there in that moment.
I know that is a lot. You're 3-0 as a Muay Thai fighter with 3 knockouts. What motivated you to jump right into the deep end as a professional mixed martial artist against somebody also making their debut who's already held an amateur title as a mixed martial artist?
Well, I always wanted to do MMA. It just the Muay Thai came first. So we got 3-0 Muay Thai. I want to try something new. I said, let's try MMA. Let's do is my one of my goals that I want to succeed on. So to have the opportunity to fight MMA for you guys is a great opportunity.
Yeah, Jorge, we're excited. You held. I've seen some pictures, and we had it in our lead up. You've also held some titles. Why don't you kind of let people know what are some of those titles you held?
Oh, so that's my 2 amateur titles.
Oh, so you have amateur.
So
What was your amateur record?
I think I made 7 wins, 1 draw, 1 victory by DQ, no contact. So all 11 total.
All right, cool. So when did you make your Muay Thai debut? Like how long you've been fighting for?
I say my Muay Thai debut was 2 years ago, 2021.
Oh, so a lot of action
No,
in 2
is
years.
it 2 years? Yeah, 90% sure to be honest. Maybe a year. I'm not 100% sure. Most of the time, I'm constantly like training, working. So all those, I don't keep track of that. I just when it's time to fight, it's time to fight.
So Hassan, you've probably done some research. In your research on your opponent, Jorge, what has stood out to you? That you found looking him up once you heard his name.
Just knockout power. That's all. Nothing special. He got a good right hand. Like I said, it's gonna be a stand-up fight, and somebody's going to sleep. Plain and simple. There wasn't much to find in the Muay Thai world. It was only like 2-3 fights he got that's actually on YouTube. So it wasn't really much to find to look up. So, like I said, we're going to go in there and do the thing, man. Come out swinging. I want somebody going to sleep, plain and simple. That's how I'm looking at it. I want to shut his little knockout streak down and go from there.
Jorge, what do you think of that?
That's cool with me. It doesn't matter to me either way. I'm always in for the battle. I don't really look for the knockout. It's just there when it's there. So if you want to knock me out, you can go right ahead. I'm just gonna play my game and do what I do best.
So Jorge, before I ask Hassan the next question, what do you think? It's actually going to be to both of you. Jorge, what do you expect from transition into the big Muay Thai gloves down to the little MMA gloves? I mean, there's a big disparity in size and what blocks can work in Muay Thai and what they don't work in MMA. Like, what do you expect from that transition from going the big gloves down to the Muay Thai gloves?
Just more getting used to the small gloves.
What was that?
Meaning that how I throw. The what?
Oh, okay. Repeat that. I'm sorry.
I said trying to get used to wearing the small gloves.
Yeah.
Like how to throw my powers, how to throw my speed, how to be more accurate with them. Defense wise, it's the same with MMA gloves. It's just more the offense.
Yeah. And Hassan, obviously you've competed in MMA with the small gloves. I'm sure you train in big gloves. What do you think the biggest difference is that you might be able to shock him? Is it getting hit with the smaller gloves? What do you think that advantage for you would be?
I mean, once you get hit, you get hit. You get used to getting hit. I think it's the MMA overall. Let's see where it goes. Let's see what he got on the ground. If we go there, it's more than just standing up. It's everything now. So it's more to worry about.
And you proved that, Hassan, in your last fight with that hip toss to submission. So you've shown that you have some disparity. Jorge, for you, you trained with Matt Santos. So he's no slouch on the ground, that's for sure. He's one of the pioneers here in New England. How has it been training with Matt Santos? Because obviously he's been polishing up that ground game.
Oh, it's been great. Like once we knew we was gonna do MMA, we were working on ground games. making sure how to stand up properly, how to defend certain areas. But I'm already decent on the ground. I just polish a few things to make sure that I won't stay in the ground.
Gotcha. So when you say that tells me you don't want to stay on the ground. That's your specialty. You want to keep this standing. You want to keep trading with this guy.
Oh no, it go either or with me.
Oh, okay. So Hassan, go ahead, you go.
I was just going to say, it looked like he was going to follow up with that. You can go either way on the ground or stand up with you, you said?
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to. It doesn't matter. Oh,
I want to stand up with him. I mean, I feel like he's the best striker I'm gonna stand in front of, so I want to stand up with him.
Yeah. Well, I know one thing: the fans are in for a treat. I mean, I've seen you fight for us, Hassan. Jorge, I've watched some of your fights. I watched your last fight with Lion Fight over at the House of Blues, and you know what stood out to me is power is something you either have or you don't, in my opinion. I mean, you know, and it just seems like that's something you got. Late in the fight, it just like it was a dog fight, and then it didn't even look like a ton was thrown on the punch, but you just drop them. And I think that's a testament to your power. You know, is that something that you find? Did you train in other sports? Where does this all come from? Because, you know, are you just a natural? But I do find that athletes from other sports, Hassan played football, you know, they learn to kind of channel energy and channel their power. Were you an athlete in another sport, or was this just something that came to you?
nah, I play no sports.
So
None
nothing.
at all. No
Never done
football,
anything.
Nope, nothing.
So
Like my first trophy was my amateur fight.
Really? Wow. So
Yeah.
you naturally just came in, just knew how to throw bombs.
Repetition, a lot of training.
Yeah. All right, cool. Because that's what I said. Some people just either have power, like, you know, you look at a guy like Chuck Liddell. I mean, maybe I'm dating myself, but everybody knows Chuck Liddell, I would hope.
Mm-hmm.
But like, he just has that natural power. Like, and you could practice that, but like, he just had natural knockout power. There's a lot of fighters that have it. And I saw that in your fight, Jorge, and I've seen it in Hassan. Like, you guys just hit people and their lights go out.
That's what I love about this. You guys both making your pro debut against each other with the 4-ounce gloves. It's going to be a banger for everybody that is in the building that hasn't had the pleasure of doing their homework. I mean, if they've seen you fight at Memorial Hall before, Hassan, that we're going to recognize you. But Jorge Vega, what are you looking forward to most at fighting at the venue of Plymouth Memorial Hall?
Have you been there as well? That's another question for you.
I should have been there. There was one of my teammates who fought there before. Actually, two of them. One
Rob
was
Brown?
Rob. There you go, Rob Brown, and then Tiffany.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. So yeah, I have been there. It's very exciting. I can't wait to be the next one to show up for the Team Santos.
Cool. Well, Hassan, we had a little bit of private time with you. Do you have any last remarks towards Jorge that you want to shout out to him? And then I'll have one more follow-up question before we let you go.
Nothing really. Let's just do the damn thing. Let's get it done.
Nice.
I try to agree with that.
All right. And then
what's the Halloween candy?
I was going to say, we got to get you. Hold on. Let me get you full screen because I think we're going to chop these up eventually. So if we can we're going to hide that. All right. Hassan Graham, October 29th. What is your Halloween candy of choice?
Twizzlers all day.
Twizzlers.
First Twizzler. All right, cool.
Twizzlers.
Twizzlers, I like it.
You don't got to cut any weight, so you're going to be eating Twizzlers through the fight camp?
Shit, hell yeah, why not?
Everybody's giving up their Halloween candies.
I'm always on weight. I'm ready.
There you go. And last thing, the fans of Cage Titans, the fan of Hassan Graham, any last parting words for their fans on what to expect October 29th?
Limo, rapper, walkout, what are they going to expect?
We gonna have a good walkout. We're gonna see what happens, man. But just come out, enjoy the show. Like I said, somebody's going to sleep. That's all that's to it. The big boys. When I get in there, I want to represent for all the big dudes, man. I'm not there to wrestle, none of that. I want to put somebody lights out, have the crowd go crazy.
All right. Well, Hassan, thank you so much for tuning in. I love you. Candy Choice Twizzlers is a good one. I love it. And we'll see you on October 29th.
All right, fellas. Have a good night.
You too.
Take it easy. And now Jorge Vega, our last but
Hello.
not least final guest of the evening.
I love your setup. I got to
Yeah.
ask. I didn't want to put too much time into this, but did you plan this? This looks like perfect with the picture in the background. You got the lamp over your
Hey.
shoulder.
I'm just practicing. Continue to make it look good each time.
So you set the stage for this interview then. Is that what you said?
Yeah, basically.
I
Looks
love
nice, right?
that.
Nice and cozy. It's like mellow. Not
Yeah,
too,
man.
It's not strong. It's like relaxed.
Yeah.
Real
I
nice.
do like it. I do like it. That was the first thing when I saw you in there, in the little like queue to come on the thing, and I was like, look at that little painting. He's got that like perfectly over the shoulder lamp. I'm like, I like this. I like this.
It's got good feng shui there.
Yeah. So
Yes.
you've been training with Matt Santos. Has Matt Santos been your coach from day one?
Yes, there's no other coach.
Okay, I
So
didn't
it's
know.
that one and George Tebow.
Yep, I know both those guys. Yeah, I didn't know. I wasn't sure if you were a Muay Thai guy and then you started training with Matt to like put some more groundwork together. But you've been with Matt since what you said, a few years now.
I would say at least like 9
9
years already.
Wow. So I think you know what this tells me is anybody that's expecting you to come in just as a Muay Thai striker, they got another thing coming because Matt Santos is a wizard on the ground. He's been around forever. So I think it's safe to say that the cat's out the bag that you trained with Matt Santos, that you're not just going to be a one-dimensional striker.
That's
Well, I
He's
never
not.
tried to be. I never tried to be. Not even when I did Muay Thai. I wanted to be I want to fight Muay Thai, but a Muay Thai my way. The way I like it, be creative, find little angles, learn more technique afterwards. It's the same thing with the transition with MMA.
Mm-hmm.
Not to figure out a way to fight MMA in my style.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and you're a dog and a half in there watching your Muay Thai fights. You're willing to take punishment and deliver it right back anywhere the fight goes, in tight at distance. You've been training 9 years, you mentioned, but you had no other athletic background before training, no sports other than that. What motivated you to start training a decade ago in the first place? If you didn't get into
Ultimate
sport.
Fighter.
Ultimate Fighter.
The Ultimate Fighter.
What
Yeah.
season? What
That's what-
season?
I think it was the first one where Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner.
Okay.
Oh, that's like 17 years ago.
That was a long time ago.
That's more than 10 years ago.
No, but that's me watching the show, not me training.
Gotcha. Oh, so you started watching the show, kind of got you into it. And like a few years later, you decided to train.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Man.
So the goal was MMA, but it was very tough to learn both styles in the same time.
Yep.
So I went a little bit more into striking and got more opportunity in striking, and then did my MMA training, my grappling, all that, little by little.
And you're with Matt Santos. Is that down in? Are you from Rhode Island?
Yes.
Oh, cool. So where'd you go to school in Rhode Island?
Which high school, middle school,
High school.
everything Central and Providence.
Okay, cool. All right.
Right down in Providence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Well, we've asked everybody if you've heard. We need to hear from you. Your Halloween candy of choice. What would it be?
Reese's.
Reese's.
That's got to be
Peanut butter cups?
There you go. Peanut butter
All
cup.
right.
Love them.
Everybody loves Reese's peanut
They
butter
are
cups.
the best. They're right up there.
I
I
mean-
don't think I know anybody that doesn't like Reese's peanut butter cups.
I want to start asking people, and you just made me motivate. Hey, what is your second favorite candy? Because I feel like everybody says Reese's. So what's your second favorite? I'm going to start a new question.
Second favorite, I will go with a Twist.
Twix.
Twix. That's
Yep.
It's a powerhouse. We haven't heard of Twix.
We
yet.
haven't heard of Twix yet. So all right, I'm going to start asking the second favorite candy. I'm not asking first because everybody says
I
Reese's.
might be picking up a Twix bar on the way home with 7-Eleven now that's been.
And
So you can't go wrong with that.
no, man.
left Twix or right Twix?
I'm a righty, so let's go right.
Oh, right Twix. All right. No left or right Twix.
And then I don't know if I don't think you were on yet, but earlier we were talking about if you follow the UFC and Dana White's Instagram, he has Fuck It Friday where he does a food of an interesting food. We're thinking about at Cage Titans because we have Coop's Bar and Grill where we do our show here. We have a couple other sponsors Main Street Tavern on the Wharf, of doing our own version of Fuck It Friday, but with alcoholic beverages. So what would be your alcoholic beverage of choice if you drink?
Like how? Which one? Like for beers is Modelo.
Beer,
But like liquor
beer,
is
mixed
like
drinks. Like I'm going to the bar with
I'll go-
Jorge Vega after your fight on Saturday, October 29th. We pull up to the bar. What's the drink we're getting?
we got a Modelo.
Modelo.
Modelo. All right.
All
That's
right,
it.
cool. Because, yeah, so our concept, have you seen Fuck It Friday with Dana White?
No.
All right, so he basically picks like an obscure food and he makes it at the UFC kitchen and he tries it. Like this past weekend, it was fettuccine Alfredo taco. So instead of a taco shell, it was
Really?
flattened out fried chicken breast, and it was formed like a taco shell, and then he stuffed fettuccine Alfredo in it, and that was the meal. And it's just like, it's the weekend. Who cares what you eat? If it's fattening, if it's crazy, whatever. And that's his concept. But since we have a lot of bar and restaurant sponsors, we don't want to exactly steal his idea of making crazy foods.
But kind of.
We're going to steal it and do it with drinks. So I don't know. Maybe
Oh,
we'll try
okay,
it.
that's nice.
Yeah, so we're going to try
Like make a
something.
little
Cool.
creation with the drinking. No,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
into that.
Yeah, all right, cool, man.
You're just trying to get me fat again. Just
No.
drinking
So,
again.
anyways, any last minute shout outs to your team, family, anything like that?
All right, so I want to take this time to take a shout out to Team Santos Fine Academy, where my coaches Matt Santo, George Tebow, and Jorge Hernandez, in Citytong, in Boston, with Mark Krug Deragrati, and my sponsor, Strength Conditioning, Jeremy Simbron. He's getting me ready for this fight, making sure I'm nice and fit, and keep my body strong. And then my fans, family, I lost train of thought. Friends and family and teammates. There you go. I got back into it.
There you go. Jorge, you're not on Facebook. Is that correct? Or you have a Facebook profile, but it's not used?
I got a Facebook. I don't use it. I just use it more like for this, like either for to find out about other fights or other information about fighting.
All right. So I friended you on Facebook, Michael Paul there. Don't leave me in your inbox. Try to accept my friend because I want to be friends with you so I can actually send you all the information about the fights. But I think that you're also on Instagram. But I want to connect with you, make sure I can get you some tickets for your friends and family so you can have those. And also I want to just kind of be we have a private fighter group where I can put in all the medicals and the applications and stuff. So I'll go over and put you in that group if you can just accept my friend request, please.
No, I got you. I'll go back there and check it out.
I got to beg people to accept my friend request.
Hey, heavy as the head. I got to send one in too. So you just got to log in once and accept both of us in case we got to reach out. So, yeah.
All right. Well, Jorge, thank you so much. I'm super stoked to have you on October 29th. I'm super stoked to have Matt Santos and his team back. It's been a while since Tiffany and Rob have been down to Plymouth Memorial Hall. So I was very excited when he said you guys were ready to come back. So thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you as well.
All right.
All
Take
right.
it easy,
Thank you,
Jorge
man.
Vega. Thank you very
Good job.
much. Catch Jorge Vega taking on Hassan Graham. Both guys making their professional heavyweight debut. What a banger that's going to be. Also heard from Chris Rooney and Patrick Gilbride. Both guys making their return to the cage. Gilbride after a year-long layoff, and Rooney jumping into the professional ranks in 2021, making his jump back to the ranks in 22 late in the year. So both guys trying to propel themselves out of two-fight losing streaks. Both guys going to be really motivated, and that's
Dude,
what we got
this
out of
fight
the
card.
interviews
There's
tonight.
just so much going on. From guys like Vega and Graham, like that are just debuters that are willing to just like go right into the fire. And I said it earlier, like in a day and age where guys are trying to bump their records up slowly and take some easy fights to kind of pad their record a little bit before they jump in the tough guy. This is a testament to both these fighters. They're like, listen, oh, he's an undefeated pro in Muay Thai? Cool, I'll take the fight. Oh, he was an undefeated amateur champ in MMA? Cool, I'll take the fight. No hesitation from either guys. And I also think it speaks to the heavyweight division because let's be real. You can be 4-0 and getting a call from the UFC. You can be getting a call from the Contender Series.
Yeah, the talent pool isn't as dense, even though the people are.
Yeah.
That's just it's just not as many people are that large. So you got to dive into the deep end at some of those upper echelon weight classes where you just don't have as many bodies to fight. So kudos to both of them.
You know, when you have guys at the lower weight classes, like you'll see it, 3-0 is not going to cut it to get on the contender.
No.
You know, even Bo Nickel was on there and he was 2-0, and they're like, yeah, you haven't had enough fights. We're not going to sign you right away. They made him go through it again. On the lower weight classes, you need to get to 10-1, double-digit pro fights before you can get onto a contender series or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They had a guy that was 3-1 on the contender series at heavyweight this season. So, I love the fact that these guys are willing to test themselves. Brandon Battles is another pro heavyweight that could be in the mix at 3-1. Same mentality, like Mike, get me tough fights because I want to know if I do get that call, I belong there and I've been tested at the local level. And I love that about these guys. As for Rooney and Gilbride, Rooney is a super tough, experienced, 20 fight guy, and he's looking to rebound his career. He's 0-2 in his last 2 fights. Gilbride's 0-2 as his last 2 fights. This is kind of a crossroads for both guys to see, a win here kind of keeps them on that path and that career path to keep on fighting. A loss here could have either guy kind of questioning what's next, maybe not doing this anymore.
But a win sends them right in that direction of where they both want to be. And, Gilbride's been nursing some injuries, so I'm stoked to see him healthy, coming back and motivated. He's a dynamic grappler with heavy strikes as well. And Rooney, like Gilbride even said about him, he's a dog. He's going to be coming forward. And this is going to be one where both guys have finishing capabilities. They're going to meet in the middle and trade, and that's a banger of a fight that I'm really stoked for and was pleasantly surprised to see on the card.
Yeah, and then not only that, we had the party jump in there. The party, we haven't seen him in a little while. He's been quiet over the summer, but he's got a big fight coming up in Michigan, and I know I've talked to him about coming back when he's done with that, because we didn't have anything. We had a couple fights we were working on, but he ended up taking that fight just to stay busy. So we're excited to see what the party does out in Michigan, and though he's a Florida guy, he has some native New England blood running through him, because we've embraced him as our own. So we wish him well when he goes over to Michigan. But man, we're at an hour mark. We do have the whole fight card that we wanted to break down. Not break down, at least run down. A lot of people have been asking, when's the full fight card coming up? So without further ado,
let's just run through it real quick. I've got it pulled up right here in the photo.
I got you. So our first match of the night, I'll call it a match. We got a grappling match going on. It's at the lightweight division. Sandy Muniz out of Triforce down in Rhode Island taking on Jose Costa out of Loco Lobo. A lot of people have been asking, and funny that this actually comes up now. But just before we went live, I had a coach hit me in my inbox and was like, Mike, when are you going to bring the grappling back? I did an interview today with the MMA Island podcast, and they said, what can you expect for 2023? And 2023, we will see the resurgence of the Cage Titans grappling tournaments. My goal for 2023 would be to be 3 or 4 grappling events, maybe 1 every quarter next year, where we can get the grappling back. A lot of people who aren't ready to compete in MMA have been looking for that outlet to compete under the Cage Titans banner, and this was an awesome thing that we did back in 2019 before COVID. When we got back from COVID, we were really focused on getting the MMA fighters back in the cage so they can continue their careers and whatever their goals were. But for this upcoming year in 2023, we're going to be focused on doing those grappling tournaments. So we threw a grappling match in here, kind of keep the fans a little intrigued on what's going on.
Give them a taste. Why not? Have a grappling super fight. They've been going well. It's a nice little divvy up of all the chaos and action that goes on. Not as many fisticuffs, but still entertaining part of martial arts nonetheless. And that's what's going to be kicking off Cage Titans 56 before we jump into what looks like quite a laundry list of guys that have never seen the combat mat before, that are going to be facing off with another debut, which is something that always excites me. We've got 3 fights right here that people are walking in, debut versus debut.
We got 9 amateur debuts on this card in total.
And so that like, you never know what you're going to get with these people that are making the step out. But
it's like that Forrest Gump box of chocolates.
It's the box of chocolates event, this preliminary card. So many people we've not seen before. few people we have, but not in MMA, that are making their MMA debuts. So keep your eyes peeled. These are the next generation of names that are going to be making splashes, going for amateur titles. As our amateur pros, amateur title holders are going pro, with Jack Congdon and Hassan Graham going pro.
Dina's going pro.
So there's so much room
we have
for a
9
new generation of amateurs. In the first fight that the debuts are fighting off against each other are two camps that always say yes whenever a name is dropped in front of them. Craig Marston out of Nostos is taking on Steve Hill out of US MMA. These camps always throw killers in there that are ready for the test of a mixed martial arts fight. So don't blink right from the get-go. 2 squadrons of savages going off against each other at the welterweight. Yeah, that's Nostos and US MMA. They always
trademark
that. Everybody out of New England is a squadron of savages. So, Steve Hill versus Craig Marston. We don't know anything about these guys, but we know that their camps produce animals in the cage. So I'm looking forward to seeing these guys throw down. Moving right on to the lightweight division.
Also, before this, I mentioned we have 9 amateur debuts. We also have 3 pro debuts on this card. So this is a great card. 4? What do we got?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Shit, I was corrected. 4. Yeah, wow. 4 pro debuts. So this is something that we've talked about so many times, like the backfilling of the lot. And you and I talk almost daily, so some of this is repetitive. But some people that watch, like, one of the biggest things, and I feel that I take the most pride in, is that we're constantly trying to backfill that lot with Cage Titans. Like, a year ago, we had 2 unknowns making their debuts, O&Os, Dan Walsh, Jack Caskey. Jake Caskey. They come in and blow the doors off Memorial Hall, still fight of the year. And now that their names are on the tip of anybody's tongue when they're talking about New England amateurs. One of these 9 amateurs tonight, on this night, is going to be one of those breakout performances. Who? We don't know. But Craig Marston out of Nostos and Steve Hill kicking it off, both in their debuts at 170.
Talk about another debuter, the follow-up fight, Baltazar Gonzalez out of Fighting Arts Academy, coming and making his debut at FFAA against Ashwath Rao of Broadway, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He went to a draw against Miguel Severson, the champ, back in Cage Titans 50-day time card in his debut that was long awaited. He was prepared to fight a few times before that debut. So after a long wait for his debut, just about a year later, he's jumping back in to jump into the win column, hopefully for the first time, against the debuting Baltazar Gonzalez out of FAA, a camp.
And this is great. FAA, it hasn't been back since Nate Russell. And I think they call him JoJo Gonzalez. He has so it's good to see these guys coming from Springfield all the way out here.
Yeah.
And if you know Nate Russell and David Durao and guys like that are all cross-trained, Nick Newell was out of there as well. Like, these guys they're killers. They don't throw guys into the cage unless they're ready. So I'm excited for that fight. I definitely have that one circled. Next up, we saw him earlier, Cupcakes MMA. The debut of Cupcakes MMA, Cage Titans legend Johnny Cupcakes Campbell is cornering he's cornered before, but this is his first fighter kind of under the Cupcakes MMA banner. And Jim Carnes is making his debut against Skin and Bones Greg Jones out of Local Lobo. Skin and Bones Greg Jones, you saw him in his debut at 49 years old.
Yeah.
He came out victorious. This was like a crop of guys that kind of got motivated by like that John Payne, 59-year-old guy fighting for us. Brandon Boats, 44 years old. Adam Russell, 41, 42. And here Greg Jones is back in the lightweight division taking on Jim Carnes. And I'm pumped for this fight because this fight was really made specifically for these 2 fighters, and out of respect for both teams and that Local Lobo and Cupcakes have for each other, they were really able to be like, listen, I'm not trying to kill your guy. Most times it's like, hey, you want to take a fight? You want to kill that guy. Like, you want to take him out. This was like kind of like an old school respect kind of thing. Like, hey, I got this guy. I'm looking for this type of fight. Like, I got this guy, and like, I got this kind of fight. Like, I wouldn't let him fight anybody, but I'd let him fight this type of guy. And I know it sounds weird. You might be thinking, what, that kind of happens? Well, yeah, it does. And, it was awesome. These guys are going to get the chance to perform in front of the crowd at Memorial Hall. and I got respect for both coaches that kind of worked this out and kind of talked to each other about
Well, there's levels to this.
Yeah.
Like there's a big difference between throwing somebody in as a debut who's kind of just rolling in training, now gets motivated, throwing them in against some D1 wrestler or whatnot who's looking to get a couple of quick amateur fights and hightail right. There's different people. People get into competing in the sport for different reasons at different
kind of
levels.
like when you fought Adam Russell, like he was a 41-year-old guy trying to fight just to kind of like do it once, and it was like, all right, like I'm not throwing him in there with some beast.
And I'm an 0-3 amateur who hasn't been training. It was a perfect matchup that needed to it was great. So it's like that's what happens sometimes. I'm like, not everybody's going to be jumping right into make it to the UFC when they go in. Some people just want to test themselves first, and in order to get someone to test themselves, you get like, all right, not everybody's going to get thrown right into the wolves. It's great when they are.
And there's been guys that we'll talk about on this card that was like, all right, listen, my guy was a high school 4-time All-American wrestler. I don't care who you give me. And I want to just say, like, as I know I'm spending a lot of time on this, but like as coaches, just be honest and real. Like, and if you can be honest and real, like we can match accordingly. And I know that takes some trust on the other side, because some instances where you have coaches sandbagging, and it's like, then it sucks for everybody involved, because like you find something out after the fact and it's like, I look bad because I didn't share that information, but I never got that information. We're all in this together, and we want to see what's best from our fighters. So sometimes honesty is just the best policy. Hey, I got a guy that I wouldn't let him fight everybody. If you had the right guy, maybe this is the type of guy. Or you have a guy, I'm not going to say who, but it's like, hey, he's a 4-time All-American wrestler. Like, we don't care who he fights. Like, if anybody says yes to fighting him, we'll take it. And then I know that going into it. So there you have it. There's my little soapbox.
I don't know what's in that Ghost Energy drink, but so much for a quick little route.
All right, we're going to go quick rundown. Next up, because we got debuts, Tim Melvin out of Broadway Jiu-Jitsu. Broadway Jiu-Jitsu is bringing in 4 fighters. They're a school that you don't see often, but when they do, they put the whole squad on. They did fight on that day card. They had 3 fighters on that. They haven't fought since.
A couple of them are returning.
But here they are for the 4 guys on this one card. Tim Melvin taking on Will Doolin out of USMMA.
So you know that Will Doolin brought it last time against the Tomahawk in his Muay Thai
that was a Muay Thai
debut.
fight, yep.
Muay Thai fights, and now he's putting on the little gloves, kind of a theme of the night. A bunch of Muay Thai fighters taking off the 8s and the 10s and throwing on the 6s and 7s, the MMA gloves as an amateur. So
Melvin,
Will the Drill Doolin versus Tim Melvin, another debut versus debut, one to keep your eyes on. You'd already know what Will Doolin's made out of, and if Tim Melvin follows a trend of Broadway Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighters that come in and bring it every time they step in there, then this is another one you want to circle as a banger. Then another debuting amateur fighter.
His last fight
was a Muay Thai fight. Brian Ferguson showcased his heart, his toughness,
going up to 185. This guy
has lost a man-child. That was a banger of a fight. 108. That fight was at 185 pounds. He's finally getting down to a more natural weight class, making his
I think
MMA
he had to eat
debut.
the walk on the scale at like 181, and he was like eating all fight week just to get up that weight because he wanted to fight so bad. And his goal was eventually to be MMA at like 155. Here we are. We got a fight at 170. He's taking on 0-1 Tim Walsh out of BTT Danvers. Tim Walsh, very similar. His first fight, because he was so desperate to fight and he wanted to fight so badly, he actually fought at 195 up in Vermont just to get a fight. Obviously, it's hard giving up so much weight. He came up short in that, but now they're both relatively similar in sizes. They've both had experiences having to jump up in weight just because they were so excited to fight, and they took fights above their weight classes. Here they're in their more natural weight. This fight should be a fun one. Next up, we got 2 guys looking for their first wins. They fought inside the cage before. Tyler Wolf, 0-1. He fought on that day card out of Broadway Jiu-Jitsu, an unbelievable fight. He fell up a little short. He's taking on Bobby Baker out of Bishop's Boxing. Bobby's 0-2. He's fought for cage times, but it was like back in 2013, 2014. He took some time away from the sport. He's had a little bit of resurgence. He's taken a couple smokers. He's had some success in them, and now he's ready to step back into the MMA cage. Somebody's always got to go
Yep.
and pick up their first
Somebody's
win.
getting that first win. Baker taking some time off the shelf, and Tyler Wolf, after a year layoff, I remember seeing him warming up in the back. He fought Sergey Pyashchenko in his debut, and we know he's an undefeated prospect right now. So he's probably seeing his former opponent and how much of a dogfight that was, and knowing that he's got the chops to jump back in there and really make a splash at 155 pounds. So
The ghost is kicking in, but quickly on that, I'll try to make it quickly.
oh yeah, here we go.
You go 0-1 and you lose to Sergey Paransuko, and you're probably thinking to yourself, maybe it's just not in it. This isn't for me, and it's like disheartening but you don't realize Sergey was 0-0, and now he's gone on and just stopped everybody, undefeated so far. So like I think, like you said, it's like, all right, maybe I fell short in my debut, and maybe I was having second thoughts about doing this, but wait a minute, I just fought a really unbelievably tough guy.
Well, I don't know if that's the case with Tyler Wolf. It seems like he's a dog and a half.
Yeah.
He was rocking some cornrows back then. So
and it's kind of similar to a friend of mine who I trained with back when I was fighting, Paul Barry. And he fought at this. He was undefeated heavyweight. And he was just a killer. I think he was 3-0 or something like that. And he fought out on the card, I think it was called Mushin, out in Worcester 10, 11, 12 years ago. And he lost. And the deal was if he lost, he would retire from fighting. Because he had a good job, Elevators Union, I believe, and all this stuff. And he lost. So he retired from fighting. And this guy, I'm telling you, he was unbelievable. Anybody that knows who I'm talking about, they know this kid's a beast. He was just an unbelievable killer. He lost in that Mushin fight, so he retires. Do you want to know who he lost in his Mushin fight?
Kenny Foray. I don't know who.
No, it was heavyweight.
Heavyweight who?
Stipe Miocic.
Oh, jeez.
And look it up because I know you got your phone, but he lost to Stipe, and like he retired because he lost once. He was like, I lost. I'm going to retire. Maybe it's not for me. And it's like, wait a minute, like
greatest heavyweight champion.
Couple 5 years later, it's like you retired because you lost to that guy. And I'm not saying, again, we're not really saying that's what happened with Tyler, but it's like, I fell off short in my debut. And it's like, wait a minute, Sergey Paransuko.
That ghost is kicking in.
Yeah, there you go. Anyways, shut your mouth. It's not kicking in. Go ahead. You take the next one. I'm going to look up that fight because I'm intrigued by it.
The next one is another debut versus debut. We've got Zach Thompson out of Ascension Athletics taking on Eric Reyes out of Connors MMA. Ascension Athletics out of Maine, bringing a plethora of guys down for the past few shows. This is no different. They're going to be throwing in we can always say debuting versus debuting fights bring fireworks so many times. So circle this because it's been a while since we've had Connors MMA represented at Cage Titans. I don't remember the last time that someone at a Connors Academy came through, but
fine. Spoiler alert: this is the guy that was 4-time All-American, yada yada, all these accolades. Eric Reyes comes with a huge background, a beast killer wrestler. And then it's funny because Ascension Athletics was the one that figured this out and told me this information. Like, this kid's like a 4-time All-American, sectional, boom, 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 starts rattling off. And they go, but you know what? We got somebody that will fight him. Give me a day. I'll get right back to you. And Zach Thompson's a collegiate wrestler. And
there we go.
This is going to be a high-level fight. And that's why you might be like, wow, why is these 0-0s deeper on the amateur card?
They've got some grappling pedigrees.
They got some
are foreshadowing their mixed martial arts
They
careers.
got something going on. This is not your typical 0-0 guys fighting each other.
So expect some high-intensity wrestling out of these guys with their pedigrees prior to their MMA debuts. But I can only say, I'll say it. I said it 15 times already tonight. I'll say it again. Debut versus debut, almost bona fide fireworks.
He was an All-American, 4-time state champ, and a 2-time New England champ for
Damn.
Eric Reyes. And Zach is also a collegiate wrestler. So that was what give you a little bit insight on.
Throw the gloves on and throw some fisticuffs, and let's see how this one goes. And this is another one I am really.
Hold on, I got to go back to my story about the heavyweights. Stipe Miocic, who was only a 1-0 fighter when he fought Paul Barry back at Mushin, and Paul was 3-0 at the time, and he decided to retire
after the one loss.
At the one loss, and little did you know, Stipe would go on to be Stipe.
So Paul Barry.
Paul Barry's a badass. Anyways, go ahead.
Back in your days of fighting.
Well, no, I mean, it was probably 2010.
Yeah, I was still in high school.
There we go. All right.
But yes, this next fight I've circled on already. I saw this one. You sent me the fight card. This one I think was just recently made, not too long ago. But Phil Bambino Locino making his return to the Cage Titans cage against Danny Jefferson. Both of these guys made their debut at Cage Titans 50 daytime card. And both had impressive showing. Locino losing that to Jake Kasky, but has gone 1-1 since. emerging with his first win. Danny Jefferson was one and done last year, hasn't returned, but he got the finish over Christos Papadelos, if I'm not mistaken. That was his opponent that he was able to get the third round win. So, these guys bring it. High intensity finishers that are going to be throwing heavy hands at each other, probably meeting in the middle, and they're both absolute gamers in there. That's why it's so high up on the undercard. Circle that as an amateur fight of the night contender right then and there. It's going to be violent. There's going to be a lot of heart, and somebody's going down, I think. And I don't know who, but I can't wait to call it.
And then the last fight on the undercard is a Muay Thai title fight. This is Ashley Barrett, Smashley, I think they call it.
Ashley Smashly Barrett versus
USMA
Megan Roscoe at a Citadel.
I announced it last week. I kind of gave you a little teaser. Muay Thai title at 125. If you've seen Ashley fight for Cage Titans before in the MMA world and in the Muay Thai,
she has fun
this girl brings it, brings an intensity level like no other. Not just for any fighter.
And a victory streak of
And Megan, she's a transplant. I believe she's from Colorado, and she's currently living in Boston, training out of Citadel. She's undefeated so far, and it was difficult to try to find her somebody, and it was difficult to find Ashley. And Ashley wanted MMA, Megan wanted Muay Thai, and then we are like, you know what? If we throw a title up for grabs, that entice you, Ashley. Ashley really wanted the 5 rounds, and then bam, here we go. We're going to throw a Muay Thai title. I'm pumped for it. And that should be a great way to end our undercard.
Second ever Muay Thai title going to the ladies, and no more deserving recipients to whoever the recipients of this title fight than Ashley Barrett, who's already torn the walls off of Plymouth Memorial Hall, and Megan Roscoe 2-0, flying in from Colorado. What a warm welcome to the.
Well, no, she lives in Boston.
Yeah, she lives in Boston now, but she grew up in Colorado. She fought out in Colorado.
Yeah, I believe that's where she is. I don't hold me to it, Megan. I apologize. I know she's not from Massachusetts.
Gotcha.
I want to say Colorado. But anyways, and then the last, the main card, we got 1, 2, 3.
Well, we've already interviewed all of these people.
I'll quickly run it down.
We got Rob Fuller, Andrew Valdina making his pro debut in the first pro fight after the undercard finishes up. Paul Teague coming up from South Carolina, taking on the debut, and Jack Congdon. We heard from them last week as well. Chris Rooney, who you heard from today, making his Massachusetts mixed martial arts debut against the returning Patrick Gilbride. We also heard from earlier today, and then the heavyweights making their debut. You just heard from them. Jorge Vega versus the former amateur champ Hassan, the bounty hunter Graham. They're going to be throwing down. Somebody's taking a nap, as the heavyweights always throw down, and the heavy-handed guys, involuntary naps getting handed out. And then with our final 3 fights, we heard from these guys a couple weeks ago. Sage Felipe making his Cage Titans debut against the already Cage Titans legend in Marty Navis, who's making his return after a 2-fight streak. Looking
Sage,
to
you
jump
heard it
back
here on
into
Table Titans. First round decapitation. No tree hugging. He's already made those predictions.
No tree hugging. They're coining the phrase tree hugging. So that's a fight that we've been circled for a long time. And then our co-main event, Will Sriracha Smith taking on the undefeated Jeff Joy, who is yet to test defeat at the amateur ranks or the professional ranks. Will Smith has fought in so many wars in that cage already for the amateur title, and was a dog taking a last-minute replacement fight up a weight class against Lionel Young. So he's getting his co-main event slot, well-deservedly so, against another undefeated prospect. And both of these guys are absolute dogs who are going to be fighting to the win from bell to bell. And then in our main event, this is one that has got everyone excited. Aaron Relentless Lacey, 7-3 out of Nostos. We've seen him put it all in there against some legends already. Taking on another legend, Zach DiSabatino, 10-2 out of South Shore Sport Fighting, the Cal Ripken Jr. of Cage Titans. A couple of years of a streak, he would not miss an event when he was fighting as an amateur champion, and then as an undefeated professional. Both of these guys right on the cusp of getting that Contender Series call with a couple more high caliber wins, so they're testing their skills against each other in the main event of Cage Titans 56. Oof. How's that for a runoff? That's what you can do without that energy drink tangents that go.
Dude, do you think these do anything for me at this point in my life?
I've watched it happen.
No, I'm jacked up. I'm jacked up for this fight card.
So am I.
I'm excited. Now we're 3 weeks in, and it's like, all right, now we're starting to get to the nitty gritty. Like, now we're getting down to business. Yep. The excitement of the fight card, the anticipation of the card. Speaking to these fighters and getting some face-to-face time with these guys gets me excited. It reminds me, hopefully it reminds the fans, like, what are we there for? We're here for these guys. We're here to witness, them do great things inside the cage, which a lot of us wish we could do. Not only that, like, we're just a part of their journey and something that is, a dream that is so dear to their hearts. Like, that's something that I don't care if you're going to be a UFC fighter or this is just your dream to fight once. Like, you have a goal that you're setting out for, and then we get to witness being a part of it. Mm-hmm. We get to do that with real people. Like, a lot of times, and I know I hate to sound cliche or like jump on the wagon, but it's just like, you'll support Kim Kardashian and all these people that you don't know. You have an opportunity to like support real people that you do know down at Plymouth Memorial Hall, sharing one of their posts, watching one of their interviews, whatever it is. Like, people that you actually care about that actually would appreciate that if they look out in the crowd and they see you or you bought a ticket. Like, you have that opportunity, and that's why I get excited. Like, and you may not think it matters, but it does. I've told the story so many times, like being inside the cage, thinking I wanted to quit in between rounds, and looking out in the crowd and being like, I got to get up. I see all my friends over there. I got to get up, and it gives you that extra motivation. So enough of my soapbox, my ghost box, as you want to say. But I love this. Yeah, producer Joe, come wrap it up with us. What's going on? Are you there? Did you get your mic working?
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
What's up, my man? How you doing?
Great show so far.
Nice. Where are you at?
I'm out on the Cape tonight.
Nice. Down the Cape, rocking the Cape. What's your quick takeaway from the show? I know we're at an hour and a half. We're trying to keep an hour, but we're actually not doing too bad for our time.
Yeah, so I want to thank everybody that's been tuning in the last few weeks. The feedback's been great. Viewership's been really steady, and we appreciate that on the show. I want to thank the fighters who have been gracious enough to give us their time. I want to apologize to tonight's fighters. I didn't have an opportunity to get all their intro reels taken care of. So, I kind of have a motto where I don't want to do for some, where I can't do for all. I couldn't get everybody's done. But I do want to say, it was really impressive. One of the things that I love most about MMA through the years has been, having come from outside the cage and watching fights, that I still get to do that. And when I put together these intro reels for folks, I get to take a look at what your career has been so far. It's really impressive. Just take Pat Gilbride, for instance. I mean, I must have spent 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours watching his videos. He has so much time in your cage, Mike. It's incredible. There's fighters out there that only have a few minutes in a cage, myself included in that. But you take a look at a guy like Pat, and like everything's explosive. There isn't hardly a minute where there isn't something happening. He had an amazing takedown, like a hip throw, in one of his fights that I wanted to put on screen tonight.
Hip throw to Amba against Mike Albert. I remember that.
Yeah, he threw like 3 together in a row, like 3 fights, 2 fights at least back to back, where it was armbar city. And here's a guy who has said in interviews that he didn't even really get into this because he didn't like the thought of rolling around on the mat with guys. Yeah. That he had a buddy who kept telling him for years that he should get into Joe's gym. And he wasn't interested in the jiu-jitsu. He didn't like the idea of, rolling around with guys. But here he is. He's a monster on the mat. He's an expert at throwing on those submissions. So, that's really cool. And then Jorge.
I was going to ask you. You obviously, we didn't get the video reels up, and I know you've already done 2 or 3 of them. Maybe we can sneak them in.
Yeah, later this week.
But
I'll definitely get them.
Jorge, and before we wrap up the show, what would you say for our viewers? Because you actually watched his last couple fights, to put that highlight reel together. What's something that stood out about Jorge to you?
His durability, his ability to kind of not weather a storm because he hasn't really, he's only had a couple of fights. So he's had a couple guys who really they threw hard punches, but he wasn't afraid to take the punches and throw something back at him. So, just for anybody that's going to be at this show, know that he's not going to shy away when he takes a punch. He's going to be in Hassan's face. He is going to fight his fight. So it was really cool to see that. And, but that's only from a few minutes of videos. His was probably the least amount of time that I had to watch anybody.
Yeah, I know.
Chris Rooney
yeah,
definitely was somebody who, he's had so many fights, and it's really impressive to hear that he's come back from addiction and things like that. I wonder if we had asked him if he'd fought any of his fights, not under the influence, but having had camps while he had been battling addiction, what his take on having a camp this time without that, or previous fights where he's made that comeback. So, we all know a few fighters, sadly, who haven't really won that battle, and hopefully, Chris comes in here and puts on the show that he claims he can put on.
Yeah.
But no, his fights were really cool to watch too, especially in Vermont. They're wild up there because it's almost like the Wild West.
I've seen
a
fight.
They can bring their own gloves.
Yeah, Andy and I.
I've heard of people wearing UFC gloves.
Yeah, we've watched a fight before. They built the friggin' cage out of like planks and like 2x4s and stuff. So there's a little bit of a time that they really weren't sanctioned. And there's been some rogue promoters.
It's still not sanctioned up there.
Yeah, there was a rogue promoter who like went around. It's sanctioned, but it's not. It's kind of weird loophole kind of thing. I know Rex runs a solid promotion up there, Donnybrook, but there was a couple other. There was one promoter in particular that got some deep shit from the state. He was running some of these weird type Wild West shows. But either way, we've been on for an hour and a half. Andy, your last closing thoughts.
Nothing. Halloween, fight night, fright night, whatever the hell you want to call it. That's just get your tickets off your fighters. They're going to be cutting weight in the next couple of weeks, so we might as well do it now so you're not catching them while they're trying to cut carbs and sodium out of their diet and get ready for the sauna. So I can't emphasize that enough as we move on to fight week. You want to get your tickets off your fighters ASAP. Hit them up on their Instagrams, on the Facebook, on the Twitter. Call them, whatever you got to do. And
on the
interwebs, whatever you got to do. Send them a raven or a letter, whatever you need to do. Hit up.
Did you watch House of Dragons last night?
No, I did not. I'm not watching House of Dragons. That bullshit spin
that show
off.
was good.
It's fucking terrible.
I'm
Don't
telling
waste
you,
your
man.
time with it.
Watch that show.
It's god
Tell
awful.
me when.
Don't waste your time. It's nothing but
tell
a bunch
me when
of name
Damon
dropping.
Tried to help the king up the stairs, or when the king walked in, it was like,
there's no actual
boom,
script.
he's there.
Nobody writes
yes.
anything.
House of Dragon.
So
Meg's with me.
God awful. They
Yes.
haven't written anything like original for that whole entire
Listen,
series. Since
I didn't watch
Game of Thrones
until it was like 7 seasons deep, and then I went back and watched them all. But House of Dragon, man, Meg, you seen it last night when the doors opened, the king came.
Yeah,
that was definitely a moment. And you can be a man and still admit that you might have had a tear when Damon walked him up the stairs and put the crown on his head. Don't lie to me. You know you had a tear in your eye. I can admit it. You know me. I cry on everything. I definitely had a tear in my eye. Dude, watch that scene. Now I spoiled it, but it's fucking good.
I've seen all I had to see of House of Dragons, and no, it's not worth
all right.
it.
And then last, because I said we'd be quick, but you know what? I'm jacked up now. The ghost is kicking. But you act like I'm not like this all the time.
No, you are, but that definitely has a certain effect.
But anyways,
you're going through changes.
So anyways, regarding the tickets that Andy's been pitching, he's doing a great job. Usually that's my job, but he's taking it. He's not joking though. Make sure you hit all your fighters up, because there's fighters that have already been asking and requesting more tickets for their friends and family. So tickets are getting low because people are re-upping for tickets. So make sure you hit up your fighter ASAP. This weekend we saw a huge spike online with online tickets. Again, this is not promoter bullshit talk. Like we don't play those games. But I'm just being honest with you. I had Marty Navis, Jack Congdon's hit me up for more tickets. I mean, there's been multiple fighters that hit me up for more tickets. And as you heard earlier, Jorge Vega, I haven't even sent him tickets yet. So, make sure you hit up your favorite fighter. They get a percentage of all the sales they sell. So that's a great way for them to help training expenses and all that stuff. So definitely make sure you hit them
And to
up.
buy all that Halloween candy.
And buy all the Halloween candy. And that's it. New question, second favorite candy, because everybody says Reese's.
Hey, next week, I meant
Who had the monster now? Look at you dropping stuff.
Maybe I needed a beer.
Yeah, maybe you did. And shout out to Jen Colleran, because she's laughing because I know she watched House of Dragon, and she's with me on that.
God awful.
Definitely with me.
It's god awful. They
Anyways.
don't write anything anymore. It's fucking terrible.
Dude,
don't waste
watch
your
that
time.
scene. This show.
Why am I going to watch something
There-
where they don't have any character? There's no fucking
some
development.
good
There's
character
nothing there. It's
development
god
there.
awful. They had so many intangible things, and they had the
Steve
book to
Rita.
follow. And then once it surpassed the books, they fucking shit the bed, and it hasn't been able to recover since. I ain't wasting my time on that crap anymore. With that being said,
No.
get your-
Hold on. You got to give a shout out to Steve Rita. He
Steve
would
Rita.
like candy corn.
Of course you would.
He would like. He's a candy corn. He's like a serial killer like candy corn. Right?
Cheers, everybody. Thanks, everybody,
Jenny.
for tuning in. We can't thank you enough.
Jen, you didn't watch it. Damn, I saw you laughing. I thought you were with me. But anyways,
No, she knows Game of Thrones is dead.
no,
under
I
the
bet
water.
she said
It's
she's
done.
trying to watch it. Anyways, we love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And next week we're gonna release. We got all the pro fighters on. We're gonna try to get a little smorgasbord of some more fighters. Not really sure. So if you do have a specific fighter you want us to speak with, throw them in the comments, and we'll try to hit them up and get them on the show. Or maybe we'll just do an open invite show. Also, next week I would love to release details on the costume contest. A lot of people have been like, "Oh, what are you doing for Halloween?
Oh,
What are you doing for Halloween?"
we'll have details for that.
Andy's
for you
all about, he's the one that like the spirit committee, this guy over here. He's the Halloween committee. He's going to be hitting that up.
Very simple. You dress up in a costume. We're going to walk around. We like your costume enough. I'm going to bring you into the cage. We're going to have a crowd vote for the best costume.
Well, I thought we were going to release that next week.
Fuck it. There's your taste. We'll go into more detail.
That was not even planned. You just had a me moment where you just spurt something out.
Happens.
There you go. So there you go. We're going to walk around. If we like your costume, Andy said we're going to bring you in the cage at intermission, and we're going to have a vote who has the best. And what should we give the vote? We'll figure something out. We'll come up with it.
We'll figure it out.
So, and I think that there's a ton of costume contests that are going around. There's one at Main Street the night of the fights.
You get to sit in a kiddie pool in a chair in your costume and get showered in candy corn by Steve Rita. That's what you get to do. That's what you win.
But I think there's also a costume contest going on at Main Street, so you can always hit that up afterwards. They have a $500 cash prize. I'm sure Tavern on the Wharf is going to do something. There's so much good stuff, but we're going to have a costume contest. We'll bring in the cage, because what's cooler than that?
Why not? There we go. Hey,
right.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Thanks again. We're out.
Peace out. Oh, and Joe. Bye, Joe.
Peace out, Joe.
Drop the video, because that was so good.
When you lose your next UFC fight, you bring your ass back here.
This place has officially reached the new